Hey guys, my name is Shirley and welcome to my channel. In today's video, as the title suggests, I'm just going to be taking you through some of my favorite non-fiction reads of the year thus far. Now, for anyone who knows me, they know I absolutely love reading. If I could, I would just go hide in a little room surrounded by books with a cup of tea and just spend the whole day reading. All in all, to say I absolutely love reading and thought I'd just curate some of my favorite non-fiction reads of the year thus far and share them with you guys. Without wasting too much of your time, let's get straight into the video. Now, the first book, of which these books are in no particular order, my first favorite read of 2021 was definitely Make Time by Knapp and John Zeratsky. Sorry, I've got my iPad here with my notes, so I'll be looking down a bit. I actually listened to this on Audible, so it was really cool to listen to it being narrated by the actual authors of the book. So yeah, the book is all about finding ways to make more time for things that are important for you. So it's not so much about trying to, fit more in your day or kind of make time so that you can, be more busy at work and all that kind of stuff. No, it's more about kind of getting rid of the things that are not important and finding ways to kind of really hone in on things that are important for you and how to make time for those. So I absolutely loved it because it was an easy read. It's not like a heavy sciencey book. They did bring in like good elements of like everything. Like they brought in a storytelling element, they brought in the scientific side of things as well, but it wasn't heavy in any of those different fields. Sometimes I find like with productivity books or habit related books, they become so sciencey that it's just like reading it is just a headache on its own. One of my favorite takeaways from this book was the idea of the daily highlight. It's this whole idea that in your day you should have a daily highlight, and that is the thing that you should strive to get done. I really like that, sometimes in the midst of like crazy to-do lists, as long as I know that I've done my daily highlight, I know that day has been a win. The next book, it was such a good read, and this is the She's on the Money book by the good old lovely gal herself, Victoria Devine. She runs a podcast titled She's on the Money, and it's such an amazing podcast. I tell you guys now, if you are not subscribed or if you're not listening to that podcast, even if you're not based in Australia, please check it out. It is honestly, I tune in on it weekly, and that podcast is just, it's helped me so much in my personal finance journey. So when she came out with a book, I was like, yes, I need to jump on this. And honestly, I found so much value from this book. I like that this book makes financial literacy easy, accessible, and yeah, just easy to comprehend. Like, she covers so many things in this. Like, she covers estate planning, she covers insurance, she covers saving, investing, she covers dealing with debt, how to get out of debt, cash flow management, planning for kids and all that kind of stuff. So there's so much wealth in this book, but at the same time it was so easy to comprehend. There was never a chapter that I read that I was like, what is she talking about? This is so complicated. Because I know personal finance can be such a difficult and sometimes overwhelming topic for a lot of people. Personally, I really took a lot of value from the investing chapter and the insurance chapter. Like, personally, I do invest in a few different things, but it spoke about more things that I'd never really considered on investing in my personal self. And I really took a lot of value from the insurance section. I feel like when you're young, you're not really taught that much of the importance of things like life insurance, income protection, trauma insurance, and things like that. This book really brought to my attention that those are things that I really need to be aware of. Personally, I'm somebody who's quite literate in terms of personal finance, so when I picked this up, I was actually worried that it's going to talk about things that I already know, but I felt like, yes, there were things that they spoke about that I already knew, but there were also so many things like the insurance and the investing section that I really didn't know too much about, or things that I haven't really even thought about before. So yeah, even if you're somebody who's kind of well and truly along your journey of personal finance, I feel like you find a lot of value from this book. And I feel like it's really great as well, even if you're a starter. And gentlemen, don't be fooled by the title She's on the Money. Everything that she talks about is pretty much gender neutral, so even if you're a guy, I feel like you'll find a lot of value from this book as well. Now, the next book that I absolutely love is I Can't Make This Up by good old Kevin Hart. I really feel like he packed so much about his life from this. Like, looking back in hindsight, this book is kind of written almost like Michelle Obama's Becoming, in the sense that, you know, like Michelle Obama's Becoming, it's a book that talked about so much of her life from beginning to end, and I feel like Kevin Hart did that. And what I loved most about it is the storytelling format of it. Like, personally, I just love books that have a storytelling nature. I really like books that have emotion and bring you along a journey with you, and I feel like this book did that so well. So it's got that storytelling element, but from every story you will find something to learn from. It's not like he's preaching you or he's kind of teaching you. He just tells you what happened within his life, and you kind of learn from his mistakes. I would actually recommend you listen to it on Audible rather than reading the physical book. Obviously you do what works for you, but when you listen to it on Audible, like as he's reading it, sometimes he adds on like a few little things that aren't in the book, like when he's laughing and telling the story and stuff. So it just made it more real and more, I don't know, more authentic. So highly recommend you listen to it via Audible or whatever audiobook platform you use. Next book, similar along the same lines. Again, I listened to this on Audible, and it was The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish, or Haddish, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. And I just absolutely love Tiffany Haddish. I actually read Tiffany Haddish's book first. I loved it so much. Like, I loved the storytelling format of it, a comedian writing a book, so much so that that's when I decided to go read Kevin Hart's book. Back to Tiffany Haddish's book, I felt like this was genuinely one of the most honest and most real books that I've ever read. Like, Tiffany left nothing off the table. She spoke about things that are so personal. She spoke about her struggles with dyslexia. She spoke about, you know, dealing with her mother being in a mental institution. She spoke about being homeless. She spoke about being broke. Like, it was so real and it was so raw and honest. And I feel like I really appreciated that, because sometimes when you see like these stars and stuff, you kind of forget where they come from. It was really heartwarming to see that she literally started with nothing. She literally started on bottom of all bottoms. So kind of seeing her kind of like unravel and grow into being who she is now was a really, really cool journey. Another thing that I absolutely loved about this book as well is how she managed to stay positive in absolutely everything. Like, she would talk about really horrific stories. Like, guys, some of the stories in this book are like horrific, but she spoke about it with such a sense of humor. She spoke about it with like laughter. She didn't look at things negatively, and I feel like that just like reminded me of how important it is to always have like a positive outlook on life. And last but not least, another book that I really enjoyed from this year was The Happiest Man by Jaku. This book was literally like an easy read. I believe I actually read this book, it was either 1 day or 2 days. I think I finished this in 2 days. I would say it's probably on the lower end of my top 5 reads. I would say the title is a bit misleading. I don't know what I was thinking when I picked up this book, but yeah, it's a bit of a misleading title. So it's not a book about happiness. It's not a book about trying to find happiness. Not that I picked up this book trying to find happiness, but yeah, there isn't that much about being happy in this book when I think about it. So yeah, I feel like the title was a bit misleading, but the little top section says, a Holocaust survivor shares how he found gratitude, kindness and hope in the darkest of places. This book is obviously set in Nazi Germany, of which these are genuinely some of my favorite reads. I know that kind of sounds bad to say, but I really love Nazi Germany books, especially when I'm reading it from a Jewish perspective. If you have any books on Nazi Germany written from a German perspective, please comment them down below, because I feel like I haven't read those types of books and I feel like it's interesting. Whenever I read liking to hear from different perspectives and like learning from different people and the likes. I love the back as well, like the simplicity of that at the back. It's not as in depth as other books on Nazi Germany, like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas or The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Like, it's not as in depth. I'd say it's a good read if you've never read books in this time before. It was really good to see that somebody went through that and they came out of it and still decided to be positive. They came out of it and still decided to choose love, to choose friendship, to choose, you know, hope, and to choose to not let that experience take away from them more than it already took. And that is pretty much all for today, guys. Hope you guys have liked this video. These are just a few of the reads. I'll probably film a part 2 sometime in December at the end of this year, just with maybe another 5 additional non-fiction reads that I really enjoyed. So make sure that you've subscribed and you've liked the video, and turn on your post notifications so that when I do release a new video you will not miss out on that. And anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. With all that being said, dream big and hustle hard. I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye.